Hi everyone, good morning to all of you. This video is not a book review video. It's also not a 100 days of video, but I will be uploading one of my 100 days of in a few days. This video is actually me sharing with you my vacation that I just got off of as of yesterday. I just arrived home yesterday after being on a Greyhound bus for about 2 or 3 days. I just woke up, I put on my little earrings, but I just woke up and I feel like I want to share with you all of the things I experienced, all the people I met, while it's still fresh on my mind. There was a lot that happened going to my trip and also coming back from my trip. The only good part about my trip was actually being at my destination. So, let me get started with this story. And while I'm talking, I'm going to be going through my budget binders because I had to pay some bills today, my little budget binders. So, my vacation. I have been trying to go on vacation more frequently than usual. The last vacation I went on was in 2020 when I moved to Hawaii. And before that, I hadn't been on like a vacation since college. I went to the Grand Canyon in like 2010. And that was really a fun trip. Like we took the bus or the train or something like that. So this time, I just wanted to get out of St. Louis. I was tired. I was tired of seeing the sights. People were getting on my nerves. And I'm just like, you know what? I just need a break from this city. So my friend said, hey, come visit Miami. Like, it's a fun city. You'll like it. Like, see something new. So I said, okay, I'll go to Miami. Now, before I went to Miami, Miami was never a place I really thought about going. It was just never a place I was interested in going. I didn't think about it. But I said, okay, no, I'll just go see my friend. Like, that's really what I wanted to do, was see my friend. So I decided that I was going to take the Greyhound bus to Miami. I would have rather taken the train. The train is actually my preference of travel because it's more spacious. There's more leg room. You can see all of the things in the window. You can eat in the dining car. Even though the train has absolutely disgusting food and absolutely disgusting bathrooms, I really like the train. I could have taken a plane, but I don't like airplanes. I'm terrified of airplanes, and I just don't feel like going through all of that anxiety just getting on an airplane. Even though it would have taken 2.5 hours from St. Louis to Miami to get there, I just didn't feel like doing all of that. So I chose the Greyhound because it was the cheapest option, and I had taken it before and really had no problem. So, I thought, what would be the harm? Now, mind you, this experience that I've had with Greyhound, I've never had an experience like this before. This was literally the worst experience I have ever had, going there and coming back. The difference between my experience from last time that I went on the Greyhound, which was like 2020, and now is because in 2021, Amtrak or Greyhound either partnered with or got bought out by this company called FlixBus. And FlixBus is based in Munich, which I think is Germany or somewhere in Europe. And they have bad reviews there. So FlixBus has taken over Greyhound, and since then it's just been a hot mess. Okay. So the first thing that went wrong was before I even got to go to the bus station. I had booked a ticket, and all of a sudden, like a week after I booked my ticket, I got a message that my ticket had been canceled. And I said, what? That's never happened before. That's how I found out about FlixBus when I went to go look at the ticket. I'm like, who is FlixBus? That's how I found out. So I feel like it was the universe trying to block me from going just to save me money and to save me from these experiences I had on the way there. But I didn't listen, so I booked another ticket. And all was good. So the day I was supposed to be going to the Greyhound, something was like, Kiara, go there at like 12:30. Even though my ticket says leave at 2:50. So my friend was like, why are you going at 12:30? You'll be there for like way early. Like you could get some rest before you go. It's only 2:50. Like you'll be there way too early. You could, you'll just be sitting there. So I said, you know what? You're right. So I arrived at like 1:40. And when I went to the counter, the lady's like, oh, your bus is gone. My bus says what? Oh yeah, your bus is gone. Your bus left at 1:25. Didn't they tell you? You gotta be kidding me, lady. Like, what? My bus left at 1:25. It's supposed to leave at 2:50. So that was the first problem. You change the schedule and you don't contact me. And this was a problem that I encountered multiple times throughout the trip, just overhearing other people's conversation. When I say everybody in every single state at every single bus station that I went to was mad. Everybody was missing their bus. Everybody was having to get new tickets. It was a hot mess. It was a complete hot mess. So I had to get a new ticket for 3:05. I was like, okay. So I went to the bathroom. I was waiting. And another thing about the bathrooms, I went to a few different states, and out of all of the states I went to, the best bathrooms were ironically in St. Louis and in Atlanta. The rest of the bathrooms were absolute trash. So on my former ticket, I was supposed to be stopping in Memphis, but on my new ticket, I had to be going to Indianapolis. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm waiting in line. The bus driver is freaking late, which is another trend I started seeing where everybody's bus driver was late, didn't show up, was late again. The difference between with this FlixBus thing and with Greyhound is when Greyhound was just Greyhound, you could sit anywhere. You could just find an open seat. Hey, can I sit next to you? Sure. FlixBus decides it's going to make like seat numbers. It's like you sit in seat 8C, you sit in seat 10B. But what's crazy is because people were missing, like the drivers weren't showing up or people were showing up late, now people had double seats. Now you had two people to the same seat number. It was just a disaster. So the first bus, we're standing outside waiting to board. It's freezing cold. And we're just standing there for 15 minutes. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. This is the wrong bus. Let's go to another bus. So we go to the other bus and we board. We're already running late. And everybody's irritated. I found out about the little seat thing when this lady yelled at me. Like, I just got into a seat. She's like, no, you have to get your stuff up. This is my seat. This is a passenger. And it's like, what? Girl, what? So I end up sitting somewhere in the back. I actually don't remember the trip going to Indianapolis. I don't remember. I literally don't remember. Because it must have been so traumatizing, I blocked it out of my mind. So we get to Indianapolis, And I'm there maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. Their bathrooms were disgusting, even though there was a man that was cleaning everything. So I'm sure he like made it presentable. But other than that, their bathrooms were disgusting. If I had been thinking, I would have just called my cousins but it was too early in the morning on a work day. But I have like family in Indianapolis, so if I had been thinking, I would have just visited them for a day and then went back on the bus. But I wasn't. Um, I was just very irritated. I was hungry. I ordered something from McDonald's, which I really don't eat, but this is the cheapest emergency food DoorDash ever. So I just get a McGriddle, and that pulled me through the day. The bus driver was late again. Um, yeah, the bus driver was late. He was like 20, 30, 40 minutes late. And when he arrived, he took a break. So we were even later. Now, when I got on the bus, I'm trying to remember because there was a lot of people that I met on the bus, and I can't remember who I met first and if they were people I met going there or coming back. So I'm going to be jumping from, story to story when I remember because I'm just very confused. So at around that time, I find out, I guess it's TMI or whatever, but around that time, I found out my little monthly cycle thing came, and I'm just like, why are you here? Like, you were supposed to be coming in the middle of the month. Like, what is going on? Like, I am not prepared. Thank God I prepared some pads for myself because a voice in my head's like, you need some pads. And I'm like, why? You're just not coming to the middle of the month. No, 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 no. I was just very over it. Okay. I think I know why it came because I was super stressed and I felt unclean and dirty. Everywhere I went, I was trying to like bathe in the sink, like, but not be naked. So I just hate not having a shower. I hate being unclean. It makes me sad and irritated. And then you top it off with your little monthly monster. Like, dang, now you feel extra, extra dirty. So I was just over it. So I sit on the bus and I'm next to this kid who's like 21 years old. And across from us is this couple. And mind you, I'm telling you about this couple because they're going to play a later part in my story too. So the kid was 21. He was a really cute kid. He was shivering and I had a blanket. So I saw him shivering in his sleep. So I was like, you want a blanket? So I was like, you could take the other half. He's like, thank you. And he started telling me his life story. He asked how old I was. I said 34. He said his mother was 37 and how he lived in all of these different places. His mother and him and his siblings would travel. And he was like, when I lived in Houston, when I lived in Washington, when I lived in such and such, he lived almost all over America, just traveling. And he had a necklace on his neck, and it was of his cousin, who he said got murdered or something in the Mall of America. But he was just telling me his life story, and it was really intense. And I was just listening. Now, the couple that was across from us was this pretty lady. I don't know if she was biracial or racially mixed, or I thought she was black, but the kid thought she was like not black. He thought she was white, but she was too tan to be white. She had a nice, beautiful, like long brown wavy hair. It was like a really pretty lady. Her boyfriend, on the other hand, was this they just didn't look like they went together. Like, first of all, his face looked like a foot. He had this like unshaven, unkempt face and beard. He was wearing like really dirty clothes. He had like this beer belly. He was loud. He was burping. Like, it was just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So I thought that was her husband. I thought it was her boyfriend. But I found out later from another passenger that they had actually started dating on the Greyhound. They had met on the Greyhound bus. Who would have thought? So I didn't realize that said lady's man had been staring at me the whole time. I didn't know that. I found out from the kid because I switched numbers with the kid because his mother has a work from home job. And he's like, yeah, give me your number and we can keep in contact and I can give you the information of my mom's job. And I was like, great. So I was texting him. I was like, oh, blah, 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 about the couple later on after what happened. So we end up in Nashville. I had never been to Nashville. It was actually a city I wanted to visit. So it was nice seeing what it looked like. I didn't get a chance to get out and go through and watch from the bus, but from the bus, I was like, dang, this city is cute. It's laid out. There were people on little scooters. The streets looked really clean. It just looked like a nice put together city. I was like, oh, this is a cute city. I'm going to have to make a trip and visit one day. Now, their bus station was trash, but there was a little supermarket that had a chicken place or whatever. I don't know. I should have gone there and gotten some actual food, but I didn't want to miss my bus. So at this Nashville station, the brown-haired lady and her foot-faced boyfriend, he had gotten a little chicken box, and it was the saucy chicken. I don't know. It was like some barbecue chicken with some type of orange sauce or whatever. So he's like eating it in the station. And the brown-haired lady had some nice nails. So I was like, oh, your nails are nice. I like your nails. And she like kind of smiled, a very weird smile, which I now understand why she was looking at me like that. We get on the bus and I see that now that the kid is gone, I have room. I have room to myself. I was like, oh my God, like I have 2 seats to myself. If you ride the Greyhound at all, and you get 2 seats to yourself, that's just like a ticket, a golden ticket. Because now you can stretch out, you can lay up, you can curl in the fetal position, lay on your pillow. Like, it's great. I'm sorry, it's like 7 a.m. Hold on. So I'm smiling. I'm happy. I'm stretching. I'm smiling to myself. Brown-haired lady's foot-faced boyfriend turns to me. He's eating chicken. His hands, his fingers are covered in chicken sauce. He looks at me and he says, can I sit next to you? And I said, what? So I was confused because I looked and I was like, is he asking to sit next to me because they're like really cramped and he's trying to eat and he just wants to sit here so they can talk to each other from across the way? Like I was too tired to process what was going on. Like if I had been more awake, I probably would have had a proper reaction and be like, well, aren't you sitting next to your girl? But I was so fucking tired that I was just like, what is going on? Is he really asking me this? So this started a whole argument between him and the girl. And they argued the whole bus ride to, I don't know where we were going. We were going to like Georgia or, yeah, we were going to Atlanta. Okay, I'm starting to remember. Okay, we're going to Atlanta. This brown-haired girl wants to pin her boyfriend on me. She's like, yeah, she's been trying to get your attention all day. Didn't you see her? She keeps looking. I didn't know I was looking at these people. I didn't know that. Apparently, I've been checking out her man all day, I guess. Even though the kid told me he kept staring at me and the kid. He kept looking over. But I didn't know because I was looking at the kid. I was talking, making eye contact with the kid. Sometimes a person would like sneeze or cough, so I would say bless you. And apparently that made the woman pissed off that I was saying bless you. She's like, yeah, she always saying bless you and and she just been trying to get your attention all day. Well, I don't want to share a man and she can have you if that's what you want to be. Like, she can keep you since she wants you. Girl, nobody said I wanted this man. Like, why are you pinning your man on me? Like, how is it I go on a vacation to have some peace and I just walk into some drama? That doesn't make any freaking sense to me. That's the part about this trip that just confused the mess out of me. Because I literally went on this trip just to have quiet. I didn't want to hear people's mouth. I didn't want to hear people's freaking drama. I just wanted to be by myself in a place where nobody knew my name, the opposite of Cheers. And here you go, trying to pin this ugly man on me who's not even my type. I'm insulted. I didn't know if I was more upset that she accused me of something that I didn't do, or if I was more insulted that she tried to pin this ugly man on me. Because number one, this man is not my type. My type is like cute face, athletic body. Usually, like, they don't have to be big. I don't want them to be like big. I don't like teddy bear dudes. But I also don't like scrawny dudes. I like athletic build, muscle definition, pretty face, tall dude with a brain with no kids. That's my freaking type. This dude has a foot face, a beer gut with chicken fingers, unshaven beard, and burping with a beer belly. That is not my type. This lesson, the lesson I learned from this, because after I got off the trip, I realized that every interaction had been a lesson. So the kid... Oh, and another thing that happened was people kept calling me an angel, which made no sense. Like, I was called an angel at least 4 or 5 times by about 4 or 5 different people for different reasons. And I'm just like, I mean, thank you, but I just thought it was kind of odd because I don't see myself as an angel, if that makes any sense. They're like, even the kid was like, you're like an angel. Yeah, you're so kind. You're just such a good spirit. I was like, okay. But I guess if somebody's nice to you in this world, it does make sense why you would see them as some type of angel. Even in the Bible, where it's like an angel came, was that an angel or was that just a kind human being? Because from this trip, I realized how evil people can be for no reason, just evil and condescending for no absolute reason, because they're dealing with their own personal problems. So this girl was ranting about me for 3 hours, whispering, ranting about me, yet she never came up and said anything to me, which is so freaking strange. Because if you're that mad, I'm literally across the way. You can come over here, girl, and we can talk it out if you want to. I was willing to talk to her, because you're not about to sit there and talk trash about me, and I'm not going to say anything, but I'm trying to have a peaceful trip. The only time I felt like I had to be on my guard was when she said, you know, I'm not trying to catch a charge. Oh, that's all you had to say. You know what? Let me get out my freaking box cutter. I just took out my box cutter. I'm like, I'm ready. And I didn't even pull it out. I just went so she could hear it. Catch a charge now. Do it. Do it. Catch a charge. You might be one that wants to talk. I mean, I don't know your past. I don't know if you haven't put hands on somebody, but I know my freaking past. Okay. Now you might be the first girl I've put hands on. But I mean, what's the difference? So I didn't get any sleep. I was just like, this is ridiculous. Now that I'm looking back, I feel sorry for this lady, that she's so beautiful, yet so insecure. I don't know what happened in her life where you be so desperate for a man. The lesson I want to tell you, especially if you're a woman, like, don't date a man that will openly disrespect you like that. Don't date a man just to be having a man, just because you're lonely. If he's going to go that far and disrespect you like that, you need to just leave him. Like, especially if you started dating that day, you're not even attached to him like that. She's trying to explain to this man, like, I don't want my man. A man knows what he's doing. A man isn't a child. Like, he goes where he wants to go. You can lecture him all day, but he's going to go wherever he wants to go because he's not a kid. He's a man. So if he wants to be a polygamist, that's what your man is. And he's not the man for you. And he's definitely not the man for me with his ugly troll-like face. So we end up running late because in Nashville we got this bus driver, and she was really nice. She was tough, but she was really nice. She ends up getting a bus that has no electricity. I thought that the Greyhound bus had like an internal system that would guide the bus somewhere, but apparently the drivers have to use GPS from their phone, right? She had never taken this route before, so we had to stop. We all had to charge our phones. We had to charge her phone so she could figure out where she was going. Because we stopped and charged the phone, we missed our bus by 10 minutes when we arrived to Atlanta. I was like, oh my God. So I was supposed to leave Atlanta at 12:50 a.m. I had to stay overnight and leave at 6:15 a.m. I had to get a whole new ticket again. Why? So thankfully, a brown-haired lady and her foot-based boyfriend were not on my next bus. This bus was going to, and then we passed through Kentucky too, like Louisville or somewhere, or in Tennessee and all that. But I get on the bus, and this one is Atlanta to Miami. So this was my last kind of transfer. I get on this bus, and I'm trying to think what happened. It's another driver. It's like a woman. Everything's going good until we reach some part of Georgia. And there was this man on the bus that had the most cutest dog. It was a black pug puppy. It was so freaking cute. Like, I'm not a thief, but I would have stolen that dog. For real. But this man apparently had been a thief in other cities. Like, he stole a hat from a gas station and all these different things. So he tried to sneak the puppy onto the bus. I guess he had been sneaking it onto different buses. But it wasn't a service animal. The puppy had a diaper, and he was hiding it under his clothes. But unfortunately, in Georgia, the driver found out about this man's dog because the dog was like, like that's how it sounded, right? And she's like, what is that noise? And the dog is discovered. So this starts this big argument. Everybody's screaming. The bus driver is screaming. She has to get a translator, and she's like, everybody has to file a complaint, and they called the police. So they abandoned this man in Georgia. So he just standing on the side, and the puppy just frolicking around like, I was like looking from the window, oh, look at that puppy. And everybody's like, I would have stolen that puppy. I would have stolen that puppy. Everybody said they would have stolen that freaking puppy. It was so cute. So cute. So I can't remember what else happened, but I end up going somehow in Florida. I don't know how I got there. It was just like a blur. Just a blur, because I didn't want anything else to happen to me on this trip there. The only good part of my trip was Miami. So I get to the Greyhound station in Miami by the airport. And why is the Greyhound locked? Why are you locking us out of this Greyhound? It's just locked. The lights are on. There's a person inside, but you can't get inside. Like, I don't understand. I'm waiting for my friend, and this beautiful black lady comes, off the elevator, and she's like, "Do you know where the Greyhound station is or something?" She was like French. She had just come from Paris, and she was going to a wedding in Tampa. So we were talking, and she said the only way she knew about St. Louis was she listened to Joyce Meyer, and that's how she knows about St. Louis, which I thought was so funny. I didn't know people associated, but okay. But she was very pretty. I hope she made it to her wedding, or her friend's wedding. My friend came and picked me up, and that was when I finally felt like I could just relax. I felt very safe. I didn't feel like I was about to be jumped. I didn't feel like I had to just, it was the first time in 2 days I felt very at peace, finally. So he ended up getting me some food, which is what I really needed, and I could just take a shower, and I felt 10 million times better after taking a shower. Like, I was so tired. I just fell asleep. It was so comfortable. And so for 2 or 3 days, I stayed in Miami, but I was about to stay until the 10th, but my trip had to be cut short because of unforeseen circumstances. So I ended up 2 to 3 days there. And when he was giving me a tour of Miami, it was such a vibrant city. It was like a feast for my eyes. It was so different from St. Louis. Like, every city I go to, I compare to my town to see like what we have or what we're missing. Now, I didn't realize my city wasn't really a city until I went to Chicago in 2010, and that's when I started kind of side-eyeing it like, this, I'm not even living in a city. I'm living in a big town. But Miami was on another level. Like, I had never been to a city that reminded me of a video game. Every corner was visually stimulating. Even the sky was visually stimulating because there were all these airplanes going, airplanes. The buildings looked so interesting. Like, some of the buildings looked like they were from high rises from the 80s and 90s. Some of the buildings looked like they were from the future. Like, they looked like they were from 2030 or 2050 or something like that, because they had like all these lights. There, even like the roads, like the little winding roads, on each side there was some type of view, and it was like the old and the new side by side. I had never seen a cruise ship before. I didn't realize cruise ships were that big. There was a cruise ship that I thought was a building, but it was actually a ship. And they were all docked, all the water, all of the palm trees, the fruit, everything was very lush. And I compared it to my city because in my city, I don't think we incorporate plants like we should be incorporating plants. We could definitely be having more plants. We could definitely be having plants hanging from the sides of buildings. We could, but we choose not to. Like, we just no fun, just bland. We could be so much more creative, but we just don't want to. We could be more expressive with the arts, but we're more conservative with the arts. Whereas over there, it was like the arts were thriving in their own way. Everywhere I saw, there was art. Everywhere I went, somebody was speaking a different language. Either it was some type of Haitian Creole or Spanish or something else. It was so interesting. Whereas in my town, if you're going to hear like a language spoken, like let's say Spanish, you would go to Cherokee Street because there's a lot of like Latinos. Latinos or Latinx? I don't know the proper term. There's like Latinx population on Cherokee Street where it's just like a strip of malls. Or a strip of stores, and a lot of them are owned by Latino or Latinx people. Same as like in like U City, there's like a lot of Asian and Jewish like businesses. They're not incorporated or interwoven into our city. Ours is kind of like divided. like you're over here, you're over here. Whereas when I was, my first impression of Miami is like, it was like everybody was incorporated. Like you might have had a section, I was like, oh, little Havana, but still, even when I went to different parts, you'd still see representation of people, which I thought was pretty cool. We went to, let's see, we went to some place called Wynwood, and Wynwood was very overwhelming. Not in a bad way. It's just like when I get mentally stimulated or visually stimulated, my body can't process it sometimes. Like it causes me anxiety because it's overload. It's all at one time. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just trying to accurately describe how I felt, because I actually felt very overwhelmed being in Wynwood. I had never seen so much art at one time in my life. It was like the art was some type of, I don't want to call it like pathogen or germ, because that's the wrong word, because it was beautiful art, but I just want to show you how it spread. Like the art was so everywhere. It was so out of control, not a bad way, but it was like art on steroids. There was so much art. There was even art on the sidewalk, like graffiti on the sidewalk, graffiti and murals all on the sides of buildings. Everywhere you turn, there's a mural. So I actually ended up getting lost because I, like, all of the art started blending together. I felt like I was in a kaleidoscope. There was even a parking, you know, where you have storage units and you lift up the thing. So just imagine there's a storage unit and each door is painted in its own individual way. And instead of stuff in the unit, it's a store. It's a marketplace. They had stuff like that. I loved how every single artist was represented in their own way. You had people that were just like regular graffiti artists. You had people that had super hyper realistic art. You had people that had like symbolism art, and then some that was just like amateur art, but everybody had a canvas, which I was like, wow. It made me want to just go home and paint. I just want to, after I finish this lady's book, I'm going to go paint. And if I have to go back to Miami again and just to look at the art to get more inspiration, I'm actually going to be doing that, like, because I was so inspired. I tried to take pictures, but I didn't take too many pictures because I didn't want to look like a tourist. There was a section in Wynwood where it's like the wealthy looking stores and the hood corner store is just side by side. Everybody was just meshed together. It was like a melting pot. I went to this place called Dr. Schmood and I got some avocado toast. That was a lot of avocados on my toast though. But I like avocado, so it worked. But it was tasty. And they had this juice called juice number 3, and that juice was delicious. I was like, dang, I should have gotten another one. But it was $11, so I was trying to save money. So after that, we visited the studio, and that was fun. It was that was actually the only quiet place in Wynwood, was like the studio. Then we went to the beach, and I didn't have a swimming suit, and I didn't really have beach shoes because I wasn't thinking. I just had these like flats that I wore. But my experience of seeing the ocean again was way different than when I first saw the ocean. The first time I saw the ocean was in Hawaii, and it was very overwhelming, like, because I didn't realize the ocean was so huge. But now seeing it again and knowing what to expect, I felt peace. It was the first time, the only time I felt peace on this trip was when I was with my friend. That was it. Other than that, there was no peace going there and coming back. But being on the ocean and just watching the people, everything calm, it really was very grounding. When I go back, I just want to sit on the beach. I don't want to swim. I just want to put a foot in the water and just be quiet. That experience was so quiet. You could hear the water. Even though the sky was kind of gray, I felt very at ease and peaceful. I loved it. So, then, around that time, I think that's when my trip got cut short. So, I had to leave early. So, I go get dropped off at this place called Miami Golden Glades. And when I say these people had the cleanest bathrooms I've ever seen in a bus station in my life. Like, I couldn't even believe that was a bus station. It was spotless. And I guess it was spotless because every 30 minutes there was somebody just cleaning, perpetually cleaning. Their bathroom was so clean, it looked like a hotel bathroom. Like, that's how clean their bathroom was. So I waited there for hours, like 8-9 hours. And I get on the bus it was supposed to be 10:40, but it ended up being extremely late. Again, I got the worst seat on the bus, which was by the bathroom, and I couldn't breathe. It was just the worst seat ever. I was literally in the back. I was freezing cold. I didn't want to inhale anything. The bus driver hadn't cleaned the bathroom, so he came and he sprayed some things, but other than that, like, it still was bad. So I think I just passed out so I wouldn't have to experience it again. Yeah. I end up in Atlanta, and of course, I missed my bus again because we're late. I had to get another ticket, and I had to wait again. In Atlanta, I was called an angel again. And it was by this man that he said he had spent 14 days in a psych ward. And I'm just like, why do I attract like, why me? I don't get it. He was the same age. No, he was 33 years old, I believe. And he sat next to me and he kept trying to like talk to me about religion and belief system, which is so interesting because it was always a man I was sitting by. The only passenger that I really didn't have a problem with was this white boy with lipstick. Or maybe he doesn't identify as a boy. But since I don't know his pronouns, I'm just gonna like a white boy with lipstick. He was so quiet. He was so peaceful. I wish he had just been on all of my trips. I would have rather sat by him because he was the most unproblematic person I sat by on every trip, for real. Even the kid was cool too, but the white boy was like he was not even there. Oh my God. So I'm at the Atlanta station. I change into my clothes. Every time I changed into new clothes, people kept looking like, oh, she actually bathed herself? Yes, I like being clean. Okay. So I'm sitting, working on my computer, working on this lady's book. And he's talking. And there's this little girl. She was so cute. She was maybe 2 years old. And she kept running to me. She ran to me at least 11, 12, 15 times. I don't know why her mother didn't just hold on to her, because she would run around the whole bus station, then she would run to me. So every time she ran to me, she'd either be touching my hair, or she'd be touching my hand, or she'd be trying to touch my face, or she'd like try to get on my computer and touch it. And she would just start talking to me. She's like, I was like, oh, okay, whatever you're saying. I don't know what she was saying. I don't think she spoke English. Like, her mother looked like she was, I don't know, like African, and her dad looked like he was like a white Latino. I don't know. Or her mother kind of looked Somalian or something like that. Or maybe she was Cuban. I don't know. But the last thing the little girl did was she tried to give me her doll. She tried to, and I was like, no, that's your doll. Like, she's like, here's the doll. It's like, oh, he cute. So the one that had been in the psychiatric ward was like, you're just an angel. Let me get some of your energy. Like, let me touch you. But that's the first person that said, I want to take your energy on this trip. Because I actually had 2 other people say the same thing, which made me realize energy vampires are really out here. Some energy vampires aren't bad. Some of them are just people that just want good energy, but it's still kind of an energy vampire. I get on the bus. Wait. Okay. I'm getting too ahead of myself. Sometime on the trip, I don't know where, there was a man who was older, and he was very nice. He got me snack. I got him a snack. He tried to touch my hand too. He's like, baby, you're so nice. But I think he called me baby because I was around the age of his kids, because he's going to go see his wife, who he hadn't seen in like 2 or 3 months. And apparently they were soulmates. He was in his 50s or 60s, and they had been together since they were 12 and 13. So that was like his soulmate, and they were just flirting on the phone. So I guess when he called me baby, it was just like one of his kids. But he's like, baby, I want you to come to my wedding. I want to invite you to my wedding. It'll be a good time. And he's like, oh, I just want to touch you. You're just an angel. I was like, damn, I need some angel wings. Well, I got my earrings with angel wings, but I just don't see myself as an angel. I see myself as petty. I see myself as like, what do you call it? Needing some anger management, but never an angel. If I knew an angel, it'd be my friend Betsy. My friend Betsy is an angel. Like, she's like the best. She's like a baby and an adult. Like, that's how wonderful and nice she is. I've never met anybody so nice. But that's what I think of when I think of it. So that dude was okay. Around that time, we had this evil bus driver, and this man, hold on, maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself. I'm like starting to blend things, so I'm sorry if I'm like jumping from one thing to another. So on one trip, we were late in Orlando because our bus driver didn't show up for 3 hours. So we had to get a new one, and we got the substitute was this man that was very, very, very mean. He was so mean. He would lock people in the bus. He would lock people out of the bus. Every time you got on the bus, you had to show your ticket, even though he had seen you before. He's like, no, you can show me your ticket. So I just stopped getting off. Like, he was going off on people. He was yelling at people. He was just like trying to pull off with people outside. Like, it was terrible. Like, the worst ever. My God. Then, when we were leaving Atlanta, there was a mother and her 2 children. They were both teenagers. trying to think. This lady was like tall black lady. Her face kind of reminded me of this comedian. Like, she looked just like this man, but as a woman. And that's why I remember her face, because she had his face, but like different skin color, and she's like a woman. So this lady was such a jerk. She came on the bus to our assigned seats. There was a man sitting in his assigned seat, like that he had been assigned. And she's like, "Excuse me, sir, I'm going to have to make you move. My daughter is not sitting next to a man." And he's like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to need you. I need all of you guys to move because my daughter is not sitting next to a man." And the man's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "You know what? I'm just going to talk to the bus driver because nobody's going anywhere. This bus isn't going anywhere. I don't care if people are late. My daughter's not sitting next to a man." So we're all just like trying to shuffle around to accommodate this lady, right? And she's still not satisfied. She even sat the daughter next to the brother, and she still wasn't satisfied. So this started a whole argument. The bus driver had to come on, and like, she was just so ratchet. Like, I hate calling people ratchet, but this lady was ratchet. Ratchet, ratchet, ratchet. And the little girl had a dog. Was it a service animal? I didn't see it. I don't know what it is with Greyhound and these freaking animals. Like, so the son was a douchebag too. I guess he was like 17. And I hate to talk about a child, but at this point, everybody can get it. Like, everybody can get the smoke. I don't care. Maybe he was 18, 19. I don't know. But he was rude, just like his mother. There was a little baby in front of him, oh, yeah. She's like, oh, she's like Queen. He's like, I don't do no kids. Well, apparently, if you keep going on the path that your mama's leading you on, you're going to have 3 of them from 3 different women. Little boy. I was just over it. I was over it. So around that time, I was sitting next to the white boy with the lipstick. I wish he had just been my bus buddy the whole trip, because after him, things got worse. Oh, there was also somebody. There was somebody somewhere. Can't remember. Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. There was, at one point in my trip, there was this lady, this white lady, that was so rude to me and like to some other people. She was obnoxious. She was laughing and cackling really loudly. And she was like moving and just talking trash about people on the phone. She was eating peanut butter from a jar with the bottom of a toothbrush. So just imagine this is the brush where you brush your teeth, and this is the bottom of the toothbrush. She's scooping it and eating peanut butter with the bottom of a toothbrush. I'm just like, do y'all have no class? You couldn't have gotten a spoon from somewhere, lady? Look, I would never. I've only seen a toothbrush used for brushing your teeth, for brushing your baby hairs, and for scrubbing surfaces. But I have never seen somebody eat peanut butter with the bottom of a toothbrush. That is just a whole nother level of trashy. So I asked this lady, I was like, "Oh, is that our driver?" She's like, "I don't know. Do I look like a tour guide to you?" I was like, "Well, dang, I'm sorry. I just didn't." She's like, "You don't have to ask me any questions." I said, "Look, you don't have to be so belligerent and combative, lady." And she's like, "You know what?" Yeah, I said, "Okay, that's okay. I don't have to say shit to you," I said. So she turns her back. I said, "Oh, okay." And she just keeps looking at me. I said, "You know what? Let me get out my mala." So I got out my mala. I went on YouTube. I clicked on Kali mantra to destroy your enemies. And I started chanting. Because every time I chant Kali, people stay away from me. So, of course, this lady was like trying to look at what I looked at. And she's just like, look, she's like, oh. And then she like turned. And every time she turned back, what was I doing? Chanting Kali, and she turned again. So I said, okay, let me make something that's gonna make her really mad. So I started looking up race relations videos, because you want to go there, I can go. You want to go down, I'll go even lower for you, lady. I don't know what video I picked up. It was something about like racism, classism between white women and black women. And I really don't go there. But if you make me mad enough, I'll go there. Because if you're a racist, I'm going to show you your racist self. Because you didn't have to talk to me like that. So she looked to see the video and she got so mad. She just turned her back and she never turned it again. The next time I saw her talk was in the gas station which thankfully was her drop-off point. And this man asked her a question. And she's like, I don't know. Why don't you get out of my face, you druggie? Or, nobody said this man was on drugs. Like, he literally asked a simple question. He's like, lady, what's wrong with you? Like, it doesn't kill you to be nice. It's like, I don't have time. You can just go out on the streets and do your drugs. Nobody said this man was a drug addict, lady. So, after that, somehow, the black lady with the 2 kids, we were in Nashville somewhere. She made all this fuss about a man sitting next to her daughter. Why was she going off to see a man she didn't know for her little sneaky link and bringing her children? So you're upset a man sitting next to your daughter, but you're going to bring your children into this situation with a man they don't even know, with a dog. Your 2 minor children, your daughter's like 14 years old. You're taking her and your son along to go meet a man that you don't know to satisfy yourself. Where are y'all sleeping? Are you sleeping in this man's house? Like, why are you putting your children in danger? Look, if you're going to do all that, leave your children with somebody you trust. Some people just shouldn't be parents. Like, I don't understand. Why is it the people that would be the best parents aren't parents, but then you have these people that don't even care about the welfare of their children just being a parent? You're mad about a man sitting next to your daughter, but you're talking to both of your children about like sexcapades. Why would you do that? Your child is not your friend. Your child is your child. There's just certain things they shouldn't be exposed to. But you over here, ha-ha, hee-heeing, like they're your freaking bar buddies, lady. Like, are you sick? You're disturbed. I could never. If I have a child and I'm about to go see a man, I'm leaving my child with a relative if I'm going to go that far. But other than that, like, I don't think I would be dating like that. Because I wouldn't trust any person. And I'm not about to move a man in my house when I have a child. Like, maybe when they're 18 or older, where they're out on their own. But I just don't trust people like that. I've seen too many things and heard too many stories. So, yeah, I was just, by the end of the trip, I was just very disgusted with humanity. just seeing the lengths and levels people will go to just be unreasonable and trashy and rude and evil. But the final stretch of my trip was the absolute worst. The absolute worst. Like, I had to go like this because this is just how horrible it was. I sat next to this man. There was no, I have to hold on fudge bucket. This is my therapy stuffed animal. I had to sit next to this man who just wouldn't leave me alone. I didn't get any sleep from Atlanta to Indianapolis because of this one man who wouldn't stop bothering me. We were late going to Indianapolis, but thankfully my bus back to St. Louis and Indianapolis was late as well. So I was able to make it to St. Louis and not miss a bus. This man was 32 years old. He was bald. He was ugly as sin. And he was a predator. He had 3 kids by one woman, his baby mother, who he talked trash about, but I don't know why you would have 3 kids with a woman that you hated, but that's a whole nother level. He wouldn't stop touching me the whole trip. I kept saying, stop touching me, stop touching me, stop touching me, stop touching me, stop touching me. He kept flirting, why won't you date me? Why won't you date me? I don't like you. I don't like you. This is literally how it went for hours. It's like, I should have gone to the bus driver, but when I say every seat was full, every seat was packed, I couldn't get out. I didn't know how to react because I was stuck, trapped in this window. I didn't know this man's level of crazy. Sometimes if you have an incel, you can't just go and tell authorities. They'll attack you, especially if you're in a vulnerable position. I couldn't reach my box cutter. I didn't know how he would react to seeing my box cutter. I was texting like my friend. He's like, who is that? Why are you texting him when I'm right here? Nobody said I liked you. Nobody said I liked you. So he kept asking for my phone number and I wouldn't give it to him. And he just kept asking. So I assessed the situation and I said, you know what? I don't know how he's going to respond if I don't give him my phone number. I don't know if he's going to punch me. I don't know if he's going to choke me. I don't know. So let me give him my email. Because I know if you give them your phone number, they'll like call it to see if it's the number. So I gave him my email instead. He sent me this email. I told him basically I don't like dudes that can't read. That can't read and cannot write. I already emphasized that I don't like him. I already told him, you're not my type. Yet he still insists on writing. And as I suspected, he didn't know how to read or write like that. And this is the email he sent me. Run on sentences for days. He also kept trying to touch my hand. He's like, let me touch your hand to steal your energy. He wrote, you are a god, and I'm seeing and learning everything I need to know about you. Seems like you on a hunt for something I don't want. I'm reading it because there's no periods, there's no commas. So this is how I'm reading it as it is written. So let me start over. You are a god, and I'm seeing and learning everything I need to know about you. Seems like you on a hunt for something I don't what, but during this trip, I'm trying to understand why you are who I are. Because it's really something about you. I want to really feel your energy and know if this was God's plan to put us next together because we are meant for each other, because I'm single and seems like you're trying to find a husband and I'm really on the search to find Mrs. Bright. Not only was this man, he tried to put his hand around my waist. I said, stop it. I was asleep. He was trying to go like this to my hand. I said, stop it. So he started calling me Miss Voodoo. He's like, I feel like you do some type of magic, Miss Voodoo. I said, actually, that would be very inaccurate. Like, there's no word as voodoo. It's Vodun, and you have to have an initiation into Vodun, but you don't know that because you don't freaking read. If anything, most people are practicing hoodoo, which is like an African American version of Vodun, but you wouldn't know that because you don't freaking read. You don't read about anything. You don't read about religion. You don't read about spirituality. You don't read about how to have freaking common sense. You just over here being a whole predator trying to get energy out of a stranger. And of course, him and the ratchet lady's son were just like buddy. They just talking, they just laughing, they just saying I'm crazy. It's like, yeah, man, she Miss Voodoo. Yeah, I'm scared of her. Then don't touch me. If you're so scared of me, stop touching me. Stop touching my hand. Stop touching me. Stop asking if I want to lay on your lap. Stop asking if I can lay on your chest. I said, I only lay on the chests of dudes that I want. And you're not a dude that I want. I don't want to lay on your chest because you're unhygienic and dirty. And you can't lay on my lap. You don't even have a nice chest. You just have like a chicken breast. Damn. I was so over it. And not only that, this boy was blasting his music. Like, it's literally 2 a.m. Why are you blasting struggle rappers at the top of your lungs, dude? Back to back struggle rappers. So the bus driver didn't stop him because I guess the bus driver was over it. He had to abandon these Amish people in Chattanooga. The man in front of him was like, "Can you turn down your music?" He's like, no, what's the problem, man? So the man went to tell the bus driver, and the guy had to turn down his music, like he had to turn it off. And he's like, "Man, my music wasn't even that loud." And the teenager's like, "Yeah, he just tripping. Your music wasn't loud, even though it was blasting at full blast. You playing everybody. You playing your struggle rappers. You playing freaking Kodak Black, who I think has a brain injury. Like, I mean, Kodak, I honestly believe he has a brain injury. Like, I've never heard a man speak like that. But no offense to him, but like, if you're gonna blast some music, can you just blast something that actual quality music? Like, can you put on some Biggie or something? Can you put on some Tupac? Can you put on somebody that isn't these struggle rappers? So this dude gets off the bus, and when I say the only bus trip back that was peaceful was going from Indianapolis to St. Louis. I had a seat to myself. Nobody bothered me. It was quiet. That was the most peaceful part of my trip back home. And as soon as I get to St. Louis Greyhound, I go outside and a fight breaks out between a woman, her son, a newborn baby, and 5 security guards. And they're just screaming, pushing each other, screaming. I was just like, so much for leaving town to have some peace. The only peace I had was in Miami. And I do want to visit it again. I want to visit Miami again. I want to just stay there and not be bothered, just like I was not bothered while I was there. I'm sorry if I'm laying down. I'm just so sore. I got back home yesterday and I spent maybe 30 minutes in the shower getting everything off of me, stretching my legs because I've been very cramped. And I still have a few days of vacation left. But other than that, I learned a lot on this trip. I learned about how you always have to be prepared for anything. You have to learn how to stand up for yourself, raise your voice. Learn how to control your anger. Learn how to be a kinder person. Because there's so many people being unnecessarily rude and evil for no reason. I can understand if you're frustrated and you're stranded and all of that, but some of these people had been on the bus a shorter time than me. I've been on there like two days, and I wasn't even that mean. I was just keeping to myself. But other than that, Greyhound plus FlixBus is trash. I'm just actually just going to say FlixBus is trash because I had never experienced Greyhound like this before. FlixBus, you are trash. If I can avoid you, I will. I'll only use you for short-term trips, like if I'm going from St. Louis to Indianapolis or St. Louis to somewhere else. But for long 2-day trips, I will never use you again. I use the Amtrak. My wish for Greyhound is that the government will buy them, just like they bought Amtrak. I think if the government bought Greyhound, it would be 10 times better. There'd probably be more buses. There'd probably be more regulations and security. I don't really know. So that is my trip. I'm still mentally recovering. I'm still mentally recovering from that man holding my hand. Yeah. But seeing my friend was really great. He is so nice. was so smart and polite. Like, that was the best part of my trip. I hope we get to see him again. I hope I get to go on more little trips. I want to visit Nashville because it looked like a fun little city. I don't know if I want to visit Atlanta because I don't know. I just had this feeling I don't want to visit Atlanta. I don't know. There's something about its energy. But Nashville looked pretty cool. I definitely do want to visit Florida again, whether it's Orlando or Miami again. I just really liked the energy of Florida. It just, the whole vibe changed when I went from one state to another. It was just so warm. It was so vibrant. It just felt very peaceful, extremely peaceful, which is the whole point of the trip. Sometimes you just got to go from one situation to another just to get what you need. So that's all I have to say, everyone. I guess I'm going to get ready. Actually, I just want to lay down some more. My legs are so hurting. I'm so hurt on my body. I feel like I've run 5 miles without stopping. So talk to you later. Hush, stomach. I'll give you some food. Bye bye.